that there is. And you know what I was really thinking, if you allow me another detour, when I was thinking about directness? It was at how the way, at the most elementary level, to analyze, for example, catastrophe movies, is to not to be too fascinated by those old, today digitally done, usually scenes of catastrophe and so on. I claim that all these movies should be read through some Oedipal or sexual frame, which may appear to be marginal, on the edge, but it provides the hermeneutic key. For example, to be stupid, did you see, I'm ashamed to mention it, but An Evil Step at my very good friend Alain Badiou? Did you see Armageddon, that Ben Affleck, Bruce Willis, Liv Tyler? I mean, with Badiou we have this running joke. I always talk around evil things about him. You know, when he developed the notion of courage, fidelity to event, he admitted to me privately he was thinking about Armageddon. No, but you have some strange friends with some movies. He likes Armageddon, he likes... Armageddon, I pardon him, but the other of his choices, I will never pardon him. He likes Bridges of the Madison County. Sorry, that's too much. Even I, you may not believe it, I have a limit, you know. But let's go to these movies. Isn't it clear? Remember Armageddon, that officially it's about the usual bullshit. A gigantic comet or whatever, some stupid rock approaching Earth, and will humanity save itself by exploding it? But then you have the melodrama. Basically, Ben Affleck is screwing Liv Tyler, who is Bruce Willis' daughter, and it's the fury of the father. At the end, when he, father, sacrifices himself, he gives the two of them a blessing. So at some libidinal level, it's really a story about father's jealousy, his inability to let his daughter go. And at some different libidinal level, all that bullshit about comets and so on is about father's fury. Even more directly, my favorite example, did you see Mimi Leder directed it with Tia Leoni, that bullshit, The Deep Impact? There it's absolutely clear that, again, the comet threatening Earth, it's Tia Leoni, her father, played by Maximilian Schell, divorced her mother and married a young woman. It's daughter's fury and jealousy. Because then the end, one of the final scenes of the movie is wonderful, when the comet, which will not destroy Earth, it's more, but is approaching. He, the daughter, joins his father, somewhere there in Hamptons on the east coast of the United States, and they embrace, and then you see the gigantic wave from the comet which hit the ocean approaching them, and she embraces him and says, "Oh, Daddy," and they are both swept away. They die both. I always think that this scene should be interpreted against the background of another famous scene of lovers on the beach. You remember the famous scene between Deborah Kerr and Burt Lancaster in From Here to Eternity? This, like, two lovers, soft waves. Here you get a slightly bigger wave, how shall I put it? But you see what I'm trying to tell you here, that although the movie is officially about catastrophe and so on, but it has this inner tension because the whole narrative interest is sustained nonetheless by this melodramatic story, so that although the catastrophe is within the narrative space of the film, objective out there, but the libidinal meaning of the catastrophe is defined with this libidinal. And you know which is for me, with this I will end again, I announce it, the author, which now he moves in a different direction, but for a long time he was playing this game. That's my very simplistic, but I think I'm right, reading of the most of the early films of Steven Spielberg. What is E.T.? he's a marriage couple mediator. I think it's absolutely crucial that you remember at the beginning, this is a divorced family. Father is in Mexico and it's always traumatic. Shall we call him in to Mexico and so on? Father abandoned them. At the end, you remember what is the final scene of the movie? E.T. going home. I hate that freak. I mean, if you ask me, I would like to squash with my boots that freak. But why can E.T. go home? Because among the scientists who are bad, you notice one is the good scientist, and when E.T.'s ship is leaving, he is already holding his hand around mother's shoulders and so on. So at the libidinal level, it's really the boy's dream how to re-establish family, how to pass from bad father to good father. And if you use this as a clue, incredible things are discovered, like Schindler's List. It's clearly Liam Neeson's children. First, he's a bad father exploiting Jews. He turns into a good father. Up to, for example, you remember the War of the Worlds. The whole problem is Tom Cruise begins as a bad father. At the end, through helping the children, blah, blah, he turns into a good father. And I think even Jurassic Park 1 has this subtle logic. I think it's that O'Neill, how is it called, the New Zealand actor? Sam Neill, yeah. He is at the beginning the bad father, you know, scaring the children and so on. And through that threat, he turns into a good father. There are many details which point in this direction. So I like reading Spielberg in this way. The movies can be about Holocaust, Auschwitz, about this, about that, the end of the world. But the true story is the restoration of paternal authority. And you cannot take this away. If you take this away, you get a flat, boring movie. It's just something which appears as secondary, but it's absolutely crucial to how we relate to that movie.
Thanks. I was worried